Hey Wanderers, and welcome back to the Wandering Gamer Network Plays Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm Zack.
And I'm Mandi, and we can talk about Fantastic Beasts now that we have 20 minutes.
Alright, so as I said, disclaimer before we begin, I have seen 0 of them. I have only seen...
Wait, you didn't see the first one?
No, I'm not a Harry... As evidenced by our Harry Potter Let's Plays, I am not into Harry Potter that much. Not that I think they're...
I thought Caitlin would have dragged you to at least the first one.
I don't think she's seen it either.
Really?
She's not as big into Harry Potter either, I don't think.
So sad.
I mean, I like...
Who are we friends with?
Great people who have taste. More of my question is, who am I friends with?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this extensively. I think Harry Potter is a good story. I just never got super into it, and I was friends with a lot of people who were, like, too into it. Like...
That does make a difference, I think, on your perception.
Right, and, like, we have some friends in common that I could mention who they are, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, them. Because you and Cody are, like, into it, but not in a way that's off-putting.
We don't wear robes every Halloween, just some of them.
Right, but like this is the kind of person who just like would like argue with everyone that like Harry Potter was the best fan. You know those people who argue that their college major is the only major that matters?
Oh, okay.
It was like that kind of person with like our fandom is the only one that matters.
Oh, yeah.
Which is most fandoms nowadays, which is why I don't like them. But
yeah, it does make enjoying things kind of hard. Woo.
Man, this place is a maze.
I'm sure that's the point, but it's very annoying.
Anyway.
But okay, so Fantastic Beasts.
Magical creatures and how to get them.
Yes. I will say, I really did like the first one. Like, I am a Harry Potter fan. And I thought the first one was just like, it was just like fun. And I'm enough of a nerd to say that I'm a Hufflepuff. And I enjoyed seeing a story with a Hufflepuff who's just kind of like awkward. And I liked the animals. I thought they were cool. And the storyline was just kind of like, okay. I thought all the emotional beats were really good, you know, especially at the end. When they like, let's see, they take away Jacob's memory, and like Newt goes off back to London, and everything is just wrapped up in a nice bow. And then Fantastic Beasts 2 came out.
So what you're saying is the first movie ended with there being like no feasible way to have a sequel with the same characters, really?
I wouldn't say that completely. I think there were ways to do it that were not done, and everything was just made really stupid.
But wait, but Obliviate doesn't get rid of all your memories, just the bad ones.
I freaking hate that. What makes me so mad is, so we both watch Jenny Nicholson, and Jenny Nicholson makes this point, and I was so proud of myself because I had the same thought. So there's this point in Fantastic Beasts 2 where the No-Maj, which is the stupidest name for a non-magic person, it's a muggle. So the muggle has his memory gone, but he shows up, and the first scene he's in the second movie is, the Obliviate only takes away the bad memories, and I only had good memories of magic. But they kept showing from like his perspective everything really hazy. So in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, he's under a charm. He's under a love spell or like a love potion. And so clearly he doesn't actually remember. He's just been told like good things from Queenie. And as soon as, you know, it either like goes through his system or the enchantment's lifted, he's totally gonna not remember anything again. And so Queenie just really loves him and really wants him to remember. So she's giving him a love potion to make him quote unquote remember that he's in love with her. Also, hi Barbie.
Yeah, do you like definitely not Barbie?
Right. But
it's not Barbie, it's Julia.
Yeah. But that's someone else left their lunch. Goodness, people.
Don't worry, it's just cheese.
Oh, okay. But I'm so mad because that didn't happen. Literally, he was under a love potion because she wanted to marry him, and he wanted to marry her, but didn't want her to get in trouble because in America in the 1920s, non-magical folk and magical folk can't marry.
Because they're wizard racists.
It's just the dumbest.
So the problem is that like she tries to make these fantasy worlds, or her Harry Potter world, not the real world. In a lot of ways, it feels like. And then it's just like, but the English are just still all based on class. Everything's about bloodlines with the wizards. And then like you come to America and there's just like, well, it's not like real America, but everyone's wizard racist.
There's I forget the other review we've watched, because we've been watching reviews that agree with us, of course, but say it in better terms than we can.
Because I am not smart enough to review movies. I just play video games badly.
Right, we can't articulate our thoughts, but they can articulate it for us, and we can regurgitate them back to you. But there's another one that talks about in depth about like J.K. Rowling adding things to the universe, and realistically, there was no reason that movie needed to be in America. Like, they could have just stayed in Britain, and I will agree with Cody on this because he's got very strong opinions. There is no, like, people who live in Britain and don't understand another country don't need to write about that, because they're just, like, I know that sounds bad, but, like, writing a lot of the time is write what you know.
Yeah, well, like, have you ever had those like, experience where it's like you read a book and you're like, oh, this guy's writing about a woman, and like the female characters are all just like terrible. That's what it feels like. Like,
did you see the article I sent you guys like a long time ago where it was clearly guys describing women's bodies and just like a list of just nonsense ways that, like, yes, that's how it feels. It's and especially when you start getting into anything like government wise or like
culture, like racism is a problem in America. Like, it exists, it has existed, whatever. Like, we're not talking, but like, if you're not in it, you don't understand it, and even if you're in it, you don't necessarily understand like all the like implications that is it. Like, you
also can't compare it directly to something else because it feels like she's trying to compare it to the classism and
it's very different.
Yeah,
and like it stems from different things.
Yes, very much.
But like, it just feels like she's trying to do like, oh, classism and racism are like two sides of the same coin. I'm like, well, yeah, they're both prejudices, but they're not the same.
It also cracks me up that, okay, so the movie is set in the 1920s, both of them, and the American magical government is unprejudiced enough to have a black female president, which I don't think she understands what a president means, other than it's just like the head person. Like she clearly doesn't understand what that government position means. Well, it's just the title.
Aren't presidents similar to prime ministers, though?
You would think.
Because I could be wrong. As an American, I do not understand British politics. Or any other country. I don't even understand our own politics, honestly.
If I was back in high school, I could tell you, because I actually took a course on the different governments. It's different enough that it's not the same, and you can kind of pick up on it a little bit, but my main point with this is that the magical folk are unprejudiced enough to have a black female president, but they can't marry non-magical folk. Like, when everything else that's going on in the normal world is just insane.
Yeah, Harry Potter is a fun story that has good morals. But at its heart, I'd say it's a kid's story.
Yeah.
Especially with like how it started, like, because like a lot of the messages are like I could watch a Saturday morning cartoon and get the same messages just told a little bit less darkly.
Yeah, I think it definitely grew up at a certain point, but like the first.
Right, but I think, but at the end, it still like ended up being like a very like.
Come on, Sora.
Basic plot. Not basic's wrong. Basic's mean. I don't mean that. Standard, I'd say. Like where it's like it's about sacrifice and doing the right thing when hard things come around, and that's like very much like what narratives for juvenile to young adult novels are, or like even like into young adult or like dystopian novels where it's like doing the right thing when it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with this. I completely lost my train of thought. Oh nope.
Talking about how Harry Potter movies are kids' books at their heart.
Oh yeah, it's like J.K. Rowling is not a good enough adult writer to handle like systemic racism.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You know, it's like kind of like I don't want to read like about colonialist England J.K. Rowling. You know, like I just don't think she has the writing chops to make it through like writing about colonialism in a way that's like actually meaningful and not just like, look, colonialism's in my book, and it's like that's not good.
Yeah, well, and it's frustrating too because I think J.K. Rowling is a good author, and when I say that, I mean like, so the Harry Potter books themselves are good. Like, I like them. But writing a book and writing a screenplay are two very different things. Like, when you're writing a book, you have... And it also has to do with the fact that, like, she's at a point where she can, quote, do no wrong. So, like, people look at her writing and they're like, oh, she must be a genius because it's her.
Caitlin compared her to Lucas with the prequels, or maybe it was you who said that.
It was me.
Okay, sorry. I talked to a lot of people about things.
It's totally fine. She does at this point feel a lot like George Lucas with the prequels. But the even bigger issue is that she is a book writer, and when you write books, like you did you ever read the books?
Yeah, I did. I read all the books.
Okay, so especially once you get to book 4, 5, and 6, and 7, there's so much detail that they hey, wait. There's so much detail, and screenplays have to be adapted from the books. So like they cut out a lot of storylines. Like there's a lot of tangential stuff that they completely ignore in the movies. But now that there's no book to go off of, J.K. Rowling's just writing whatever she wants. And so there are so many things, especially in the second movie, that feel like they are just going off in like so many different directions. And there's so much lore and backstory. And it's like, that's not what we want in a movie. In a movie, we want something good. We want a storyline that's interesting. And
well, there's a lot that like was not good in Harry Potter that people forget about. Because like it's not in the movies, and it's like it like happens like for a little bit and then it's gone. Like how about like there's like slavery?
Yeah.
Like there's a race of beings that like being slaves, and like that's problematic.
Talk about
like well, like and like not like and like I think there's a lot of good stuff in Harry Potter too. Like I think the magic is pretty cool, especially like Dumbledore versus Voldemort in book 5.
Yeah.
But like that one's like there's a lot of like issues. Oh, wait.
Whoa.
Isn't that freaking creepy?
That is creepy.
What's wrong?
She's back. That's the doll that
Whoa.
bit me.
Hi.
Take cover. Copy that.
You're a little too realistic human for this to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Guys, look alive.
Oh my gosh, she's like a... She looks like she's from one of those, like, Japanese horror movies.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, like I think there's a lot of good stuff in it, but there's a lot of like problematic stuff that like is just like forgotten about.
Well, and,
or, like,
and
the weird,
they clearly like move past it really fast.
right? Or like the weird thing in book 5 where like she personifies Harry's sexuality.
Oh man, I forgot about
Right,
that.
like, it's like stuff that's like not really plot critical, but like now with her just writing the screenplay,
Yeah.
you just get all of that.
Well, and going back to kind of what I was saying before, is she definitely is trying to like either retcon or appease a lot of people. So you can tell that, yeah, you know, us Americans, we like to think that we're the center of the world. So, you know, there were a lot of people who was like,
Wait.
what's the American wizarding world like?
Well, like what bothers me about that though is like she like did that a little bit, but then she like the main character's still British.
Yeah. Well, but you know what I mean, where it's like, oh well, the American audience wants to know what their world's like. So let's just do this in New York. Like, we didn't need it to be there. Or what was the other big one? Like saying that the big example people like to point to is with the stage show, The Cursed Child. Like, some people are like, oh, a lot of the descriptions of Hermione mean that she could be a different race. And she was like, sure, Hermione's black or Dumbledore's gay or whatever. And it's just like,
man, that the Dumbledore thing annoys me because I was not part of it, like this kind of discussion when it came out that he was gay. Like, I was barely in high school, so like it wasn't like something on my mind at the time.
Yeah.
You know. And like I was like, fine, cool, whatever. And as like I grew older, I'm like, that's fine. You know, people like were upset that it wasn't in the books, but it honestly, I believe it would have been weird in the books to be like Dumbledore sitting there talking with Harry and be like, by the way, I'm into dudes.
especially because it's from Harry's perspective.
Right. If there was anything like from Dumbledore's perspective, but like with the exception of like 3 chapters, everything's from Harry's perspective. And that just would have been weird. In the same way, I would have found it weird if a high school teacher came up to me and said like I really want to bang your English teacher. And I'm like, I would be uncomfortable with that as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, or like if Dumbledore said like, McGonagall's looking real sexy today, Harry, I would have been like, no, this is weird.
Yeah, well, and like they don't ever indicate, for instance, they don't ever indicate that McGonagall was into dudes. Like to me, they never indicated Dumbledore like could have a wife. Like there was none of that in the first place. So I didn't have a problem with the initial like, oh yeah. Like, yeah, of course you don't know because it's from Harry's perspective and he's a mentor, and a mentor isn't like, unless his wife came and picked him up, you know, like you're not going to know that kind of a thing. And I had no issue with it. I have an issue with the constantly adding to it. Like, just leave it, you know?
Yeah, I have adding with it, and now like I'm really annoyed with the gay subplot because everyone else has made this complaint, so I am not original, even kind of, but that like her Dumbledore's gay in all of her books and movies except in every book and movie, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like you had a chance to show this, like you had a very clear chance, like. And, like, you have this very interesting story where you have to deal with, like, the ramifications of loving someone who isn't a good person.
Yeah.
And how you deal with this and have deep emotional feelings for someone who is a bad person. And, like, you could have done this and, like, but what do? They know. It's like, no, me and him made a promise ring so we can't fight each other. And I'm like, really? Really? That's what you're gonna go with?
Just like her.
Yeah, well, and
Getting ourselves and
I get that
attacking each other.
they aren't really that second Fantastic Beasts movie where they had the flashback or like the Mirror of Erised bit. That could have been a great just like moment, and that's all you needed. It was just a moment. like a kiss, a handhold, or something that wasn't just like, oh, we made this thing so we don't fight each other. But like if you really want to go with this, like that's all you need is that longing, that like, because it's so frustrating for him that he loves somebody, but he's obviously a bad guy. But like that's all you needed, and they just refuse to do it.
Right, like you just had to not make a stupid magic MacGuffin for it.
Yeah.
But see, why are we seeing this? Why are we seeing climbing?
Oh, who knows?
Kingdom Hearts, I want to love you so much more.
Right, it's such a beautiful game, but
I think I know who that might lead us to.
Let me love you, Kingdom Hearts.
Come on, guys.
See, like, why do we need a cutscene?
I just slow you down. Change, I'm curious.
we don't want to animate Ham anymore.
No problem. Be safe, Ham.
Go, maybe have a moving buddy,
Just take care of your old self.
so you don't get like picked up and put in a dollhouse again.
Like Vika. Oh wait, she doesn't have a moving buddy because she's a failure, Mandi.
You guys will just have to listen to my to our new podcast.
Which is going well in my opinion.
I think it's going very well. But I also think after all the movie, we should probably stop here and see you guys next time for another episode of Kingdom Hearts 3. So keep wandering.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Wanderers, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Wandering Gamer Network Plays Kingdom Hearts 3. We hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to hear more content from the Wandering Gamer Network, check out the link in the description below. We have several actual play podcasts, including D&D 5th Edition and City of Mist. Until next time, keep wandering.